Assetto Corsa Competizione's first major update for 2023 has been released, and as always, the headline-stealing feature is the new content. In this case, we have 3 new cars and a new track. I'm going to save the track feature for a separate video, but in this video, I'm going to share some opinions and tips and take each of the 3 new cars in ACC for a test drive. So let's go. So we're going to start out with the Porsche 992 GT3 R. And the reason I'm starting out with this is because I think it's the car you guys are going to like the most. It is my favorite, and I think one of the best cars to come to ACC, period, and certainly the best new car to come to this title in a while. It's phenomenal. If you sort of love the idea, love the concept of driving a Porsche GT3 car, but just haven't found your footing and find it tough to, excuse the pun, come to grips with, because whoa, what are we doing slamming on the brakes there, Nissan? The Porsche, obviously the weight distribution is different than any of the other cars on the grid, and it can be very temperamental, and so a mid to below average driver like myself might suffer with it, but I don't feel nearly that much with this 992. It's just an excellent car, and the best way I can describe it is that they've kind of softened the edges. What made the 991 and 991.2 cars, which is the 2017 and 2019, whatever they are in ACC, the edges, not the character, but the edges have been softened, so it's a lot easier to drive, but the character is definitely still there. It's still a very fun car to drive and has those unique handling characteristics, with the way the car moves about. If you're a fan of the Cup car, the new Porsche Cup car in ACC, or new-ish, it's not that new anymore, but the newer version of the Cup car, I should say, I would definitely say you're going to love the 992. It's fantastic. Like I say, much of the character, everything you would expect a Porsche race car to be, but they've just kind of softened or rounded the edges so it's less temperamental, less punishing to drive. There's times like here at Nürburgring where you're going downhill into a corner and you have to slam on the brakes. Maybe you're trying a dive bomb. I don't always recommend that, but maybe you're trying for some late braking or something. And you would expect in the past that the back end is just going to spin on you and you'll be miserable and maybe take out an opponent. But this one is just much more forgiving. They've done an amazing job, and I mean Porsche and I mean Kunos have done an amazing job of making it much more drivable and overall enjoyable. So yeah, this is what we're faced with the 992. So wanted to lead with that, and we'll do a 15-minute race here, and then we'll go on to the Ferrari and then the Lambo. I've more or less done them in the order in which I'm enjoying them here in this beta build. But yeah, you get still that, just foot to the floor, out of the corner feeling of driving a Porsche race car, but without the hold on, we have to brake now kind of moments. So here we are battling with a 296 Ferrari. Looks like we should win this down the hill into this next corner. There we go.
Subscribe to Sim Racing 604, my favorite YouTube channel.
And now we are chasing a Honda. Sorry if it looks like the vehicles are floating. I know my graphic settings in ACC are kind of weird. I apologize about that. Need to watch Will from Boosted Media. Need to watch his video on how he makes ACC look so great. Just haven't found the time yet. But yeah, just pure pleasure driving this Porsche. I immediately, like I'm sure many of you will, when I got the DLC, I got early access to it, and I immediately went for the Ferrari. And the Ferrari, I'll share my thoughts on that in the next segment of the video. But I was hopping around trying the Porsche. I was just like, oh my goodness, this is amazing. I didn't think it would be this good, but it is. So it's not like the Porsche was undrivable in previous builds. It was just a lot for somebody of my skill level to handle. So very cool to have this update for sure. And there we see another 296 up ahead of us. Looks like it's battling with an Audi. And we have some decent heat in the tires now, so we should be able to push a little bit here. Still got a reasonably full tank, so not going to set any records, but if I can get sub 2 minutes, I will be happy here at race pace. I'm going to try for the outside line here on the Ferrari.
On the left.
And it failed miserably. You a fan of the back end of that Ferrari? I personally am not. I like how the exhaust exits, but overall just not a fan of the back end of the 296. The front end I think looks phenomenal, but the back end not as much.
Clear on the right.
So now up into 15th position. Ooh, almost missed my braking spot there. If you can hear that squeak, I apologize. I've got my Porsche dash going. I love running this thing, but one of the problems with it is it squeaks. So if you can hear that, I apologize. I'll try and take it out in post, but if you can hear any of it, I do apologize about that. Oh, and something I didn't mention yet that I should have is the sounds of this Porsche are different. So take a listen, then I'll talk a little bit more about it. So those sounds you can probably hear, or hopefully you can hear, are different than the outgoing 991. So this is not uncommon in the world of Porsche racing. So if you're familiar with the RSR from the GTE series, you know that the recent iterations have sounded different almost year to year. They'll make slight adjustments to the routing of the exhaust, or sometimes major adjustments to the routing of the exhaust, and it produces a different engine note. And we have what I believe is a similar case here with this GT3 R. I haven't actually checked. I don't believe it's a different engine though fundamentally, but I think the exhaust routing is what's giving it that different timbre. But it sounds great. Sounds great. So cool to have a new Porsche engine note here in ACC.
Car on the left. Clear on the left.
All right, so halfway through the race now, and more or less halfway through the field. This is for 12th position here of 24 cars. It looks like I will not. Yes, I will hold on to it. So yeah, exactly halfway through. But I think I started 18th, so it's not like I'm gonna win the race, but definitely get top 10, maybe top 6 or 7, depending on how these last few laps go. But yeah, I just can't get enough of this Porsche. I think it's really tremendous. Outstanding car. Well done once again to Kunos and the team over there. Version O. Just dawned on me. So, no, we're expecting GT2 at some point for ACC. Just realized we're at version 1.9. How fitting would it be if GT2 came at version 2 of ACC? Oh, mind blown. Hopefully that happens. I don't know anything more than you folks do, but yeah, that'd be quite fitting, quite poetic, and of course a welcome addition. Although we have GT2 in race room, and I don't really know anyone that drives it, so it might not be that popular. To apologize, feeling a little under the weather here. 2.5 minutes to go, and then we'll go on to the other cars. But I am closing in. I'm doing okay, making up time on this Porsche ahead. Presumably this is, oh boy, this is the 992 version, but I don't know the exterior well enough to confirm that. Or do we have both? I think it's a 992 in front of us and then 991.2 in front of that. Maybe? Are those different cars? Or am I just making stuff up? Sometimes I do that. No way I'm getting... just about caused some major Porsche action there, and not in a good way. Sun is starting to set here in Germany, looking beautiful.
Car on the left. Clear on the left.
So yeah, that like would have been nasty in the 991 versions. Like, you would not want to slam on your brakes going downhill into turn 1 at Nürburgring necessarily, but I did it with ease there. So brilliant job Porsche has done with this car, and kudos for bringing it to us in all its goodness. Whoa, coming in hot here. About a second and a half to the car ahead. Ooh boy, hang on to it, Mike. I just noticed my tires are kind of flat. Running the default setup here, and yeah, tires aren't doing good things.
Car on the left. Clear on the left.
That was close. That was close. I thought I had a window there to close the door, which is a weird sentence, I apologize. But anyway, I thought I was able to close the door, and I just about got pitted. Should be on for a personal best lap here. Might have mentioned it earlier, or maybe it was in a previous take, but I was hoping for anything sub 2 minutes in this default setup. Yeah, my tires are not healthy. But this was a 1:58.9, so nothing to write home about, but I managed to get under 2 minutes, so.
Clear on the left.
Now I chase the Bentley, the timeless, ever classic Bentley GT3. Being mindful here of staying back. I've found through a few takes that this thing is actually quite sensitive to having enough downforce through corners. So maybe every car is, but you know what I'm saying. More sensitive than I might be used to. That would have been bad. Ended up throwing away my chance at an overtake, though. Not cool, man. All right, you get the flash. Can't see it during the day, but I flashed my headlights. That's a sign of a frustrated racing driver. I know, because I've had many behind me in the past. Oh!
Car on the right.
What are you gonna do, Bent? What are you gonna do, Bent?
Leaders on the final lap. Car on the right.
Oh, great battle. I was gonna say I probably need to overtake him into turn 1 by outbraking, but I have a good enough run on the exit.
Clear on the left.
So there's some of that Porsche flavor. Time is up, so we'll cross the finish line one more time here. Finish the race. Hopefully I can get a personal best before then. Or leading up to checkered flag, I should say. Currently up about 2.5 tenths, so looking good on that front. And squeaky screen notwithstanding, I've got the motion turned on today, and it is making me happy in every way. I do love racing with motion. Don't get to do it enough, or I don't think to do it enough, perhaps I should say. Makes it hard because I'm trying to talk into a microphone, but if you have it turned down to the right levels and can keep your mouth kind of centered over the microphone, there's nothing better, man. Especially here with some cool new content in ACC. This is how we do it. Oh boy. That was a rough corner. It's pushing hard for the PB and just about threw it all away. How many times have I done that? Alright, still gonna get the personal best though. Down into the mid 158s. Alright, let's go on to the next. So now we have the car that I'm assuming most of you came here for, which is the Ferrari 296 GT3, successor to the 488. And yeah, we're going to do another 15-minute race, this time at Imola, and just walk you through a bit about my feelings of the 296. And I've kind of ranked these segments of this video by how much I like a car. So the 296 comes in at second place for me. The Porsche, I think, is just unbelievably good and just off the charts in terms of enjoyment and you know, feeling alive underneath you. The 296 is very interesting though. And if you're a fan of the 488 GT3, it's probably because, pardon me, in no small part, it was predictable. You didn't have to think a lot about the 488 GT3 and, you know, how does this car handle this particular situation. It's very much a point and shoot car. And to that end, the 296 is very, very similar. So, yeah, in fact, probably more so. This is a very, very point and shoot car. You turn the wheel and that front end just goes. It's unbelievably direct. And yeah, I think this is going to be the car for a lot of beginners perhaps, or people struggling with ACC. I think it's just so direct that it's probably more in line with what you might be used to from other sims or other racing games perhaps. Again, not a lot of thought goes into it. You turn that wheel and the front end just does exactly what's expected of it. But that's good and that's bad, I suppose, because for me, one of the reasons I love the Porsche is the new Porsche especially, is because it has personality. It has that Porsche flavor that I was talking about. It feels alive under you. It feels, you know, you can see the developers and Porsche's intent with the handling of the car, whereas this one, it feels quite generic. And it's not to say it's not enjoyable. It's enjoyable in the sense that you're not fighting the car. You can just focus on your driving lines, and you can focus on your inputs and maximizing your corner exit speed and things like that. But yeah, it's I wouldn't say it's an exciting car to drive. So make of that what you will. And something you might notice here is that I'm losing a lot of these drag races. So it's not fast in a straight line. So even though it corners extremely well and handles curbs extremely well, it does not handle straights. It does not handle top speed very well. So interesting choice there by Ferrari to prioritize cornering speed over straight line speed. But that is how it's set up, and I'm hearing even that this might be slower than the 488 GT3 in a straight line. So they've actually reduced the top speed going from one model to the next. And for those wondering about the naming excuse me, still sick. Wondering about the naming convention, the 296. Some of you might know right away. 2.9 liter V6. So, yeah, that's how they came up with that. And the road-going version is a hybrid car, and it has electric motors. And I think the total output is something crazy, like 850 horsepower or something. They measure it in PS, I believe, from the official website. Whoa, crazy stuff going on in front of me there. But yeah, no such power figures, no such hybrid drivetrain here, just that twin turbo V6 engine at 2.9 liters displacement. And yeah, that is what's driving the car. So that's hence the different sound that you might be used to for the 488. So yeah, it's not among my favorite Ferrari engine sounds. That 333 SP that we got recently from Race Sim Studio for Assetto Corsa 1. I mean, my goodness, what a sound. And kind of leaves this one in the dust, but still a good overall sounding race car is this 296. But yeah, so very direct, very point and shoot. You could probably hear it in my voice. I'm less passionate about driving this Ferrari than the other one. This was the first car I drove, and right away I recognized that this is, you know, a very stable car. Yeah, you could say it might even appeal to faster drivers as well, because you know, there's nothing working against you. The limit is your bravery to some extent. Well, I guess the limit is the top speed on straightaways, but through corners, I mean, if you can find the perfect racing line, if you're good enough to, you know the ideal racing line and be aggressive with your entry and exit angles, I mean, this car can handle it. It's not going to work against you on that front. So maybe it is good for advanced drivers as well, but certainly beginning drivers, if you've never connected with ACC and never been able to successfully turn laps, the 296 GT3 is probably it. It's ridiculously point and shoot, so it might also take advantage of the tire model improvements that we've seen in ACC per this 1.9 build.
Car on the left.
Round the outside, round the outside. Come on, girl, up the hill. You can beat this Lexus, I think it is.
Clear on the left.
Woo, that was close. And my netting is blocking my side view mirror, so can't see anything behind me. Oh, never mind. I got the rear view screen there in the dash. Can't see what's beside me though, unfortunately. So we're approaching the halfway mark of this race. And again, these tires are flat, so I need to revisit setups and figure out what's going on here. I'm running the default setup, which I thought would have been optimized for the tire improvements, but perhaps it's not. So obviously I need to take another look. I'm running 25 PSI at the front, and right rear is 26, left rear is 25.7, so down quite a lot.
We are halfway through. Keep it up.
Whoa, coming in slightly hot there. So like the Porsche, whoa, I don't want to speak to whether or not this car is going to be competitive. My suspicion is that it's not. I don't know that any of the sort of, what would you call them, meta cars, the 720S, M4, are those going to be displaced by anything in this pack? Doubtful. But yeah, I can't definitively speak to that because I don't know. I can't push these cars to their absolute limit. You know where this car... I'm not even going to say it. I almost said a bad word there. Rhymes with sword slifa. I was about to say that this car might be fun at a certain location, which I don't want to bring up, lest the chat or lest the comments reference it. But anyway, I will just quietly enjoy my 296 GT3 here at Imola. So that's where we are, and that is in the game. All right, here we go. Up almost 2 seconds on my previous best, so things starting to get dialed in here. With about 6 minutes to go in the race.
Fastest lap of the race. Great job.
Woo! Stay out there, stay out there. Was unsure what that Audi was going to do.
Car on the right. Clear on the right.
Couple of twin 720s here. So rare to find teammates in ACC single player. Oh, come on, get it going there. I need to put these guys behind me. Just about halfway through the field right now. Less than half a second, or slightly more than half a second to the car behind, so he's right there if I make a mistake. Car 111 gone.
Clear on the right.
Tuck in, get the slipstream here. Can I beat him into turn one? Looks like I won't quite get there.
Car on the right. Clear on the right.
That was close. Contact even. I thought he was behind me. Little slidey action there. And almost bang on my previous best. Off by just a few thousandths of a second here with, what, 2 minutes to go? Or sorry, 2 laps to go? How many times have I made that mistake in this video? Saw the Porsche hopping the curb very aggressively there. I would also have that ability. Can take curbs very aggressively here in this 296 GT3. All right, so we will get 2 more laps, which I guess has been known for a while, but I'm just now figuring it out. Another PB coming up. Yeah, I think we have the new Lambo. Oh no, that's the old Lambo in front of us. How can you tell? The snorkel above and behind the driver in the new Evo 2. not the case here with that Lambo to my right.
Clear on the right.
Woo. Pretty tight quarters there with the Porsche, but managed to survive. Hey, 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 hey. Behave yourself.
Clear on the right. Leaders in final lap.
So now up into 7th position, I believe.
Car on the right.
Yes, 7th. Hurrah!
Clear on the right.
And this will be the final lap. Probably saw a little bit of motion there under braking. Back end did try and come away from me slightly. Nothing too bad though. It's about as much resistance as you'll really get from this 296.
Car on the right. Clear on the right.
I guess you guys know my favorite overtake spot at Imola by now. The old Lewis Hamilton is beached corner at Imola. Woo. Sorry for the pit maneuver. Oh, anyone see that? Slowed down so much, ruined me race. On the last lap, no less.
Car on the left. Clear on the left. Car on the left.
Eh, man, just getting destroyed here.
Car on the left. Clear on the left.
All right, so we are going to finish in 11th place. But yeah, very stable car is this 296 GT3. I think it's going to appeal to a lot of people. Experienced drivers not looking to be limited by the car, and new drivers looking to find their feet in ACC.
All right, check it right.
And finally, we have the new Lambo. This is the Evo 2. So it's an evolution of an evolution, let's phrase it that way. So basically, we have been given the Huracan GT3. Fun fact, for those that don't remember, the Lamborghini Huracan GT3 was the first ever car we had in Assetto Corsa Competizione. If you look back at early access, there was once a time where we had one car and one track, and it was the predecessor to this. It was the Huracan GT3, and then we got the Evo, and now we have the Evo 2. So visually, it's very different. It's got the big snorkel, the big scoop right above and behind the driver's head, and yeah, that is sort of a, not a callback, but it's definitely reminiscent of the Super Trofeo car, the latest Super Trofeo. Which I think is a really sharp looking car. And then this Evo 2 has now adopted that snorkel as well. So visually it's quite different, and in terms of the handling, well, it's not going to shock anyone, I don't think. I don't think anyone's going to drive this and say, wow, that's the Lambo. It's still very much the Lambo. This is still, this is the most drivable version of a Lamborghini we've had in Assetto Corsa Competizione, but it's not that different. It's not going to blow your mind with how much it's evolved. The Evo 2 badging doesn't mean a complete overhaul of everything that made it a Lamborghini. It is still very much, what would you say? Yeah, I don't know. I just find it kind of cumbersome. I find it hard to get consistent speed with the Lambo. Now, I'm a very middle of the road to below average driver, so I'm not expecting to be able to pull greatness out of this car, but I find it hard to be even like consistently good in the Lambo, and that's really not changing here. What's gone, I suppose, either as you know the car has evolved, or perhaps it's the new physics that have been included with the version 1.9 update. It is the least sort of intimidating of any Lambo. It's not going to spontaneously kick the back end out on you, I don't think, or nothing I have found has made it feel really knife edge. I did find that at some builds, in some past versions, granted I haven't spent a lot of time with the Evo version, but in some previous builds of ACC, the Lambo just kind of did funny things, like you would go through Lake Holm or something like that at Spa, and all of a sudden the back end just feels really light and then it's gone, and I would say that is mostly tamed here in the Evo 2, so you know, not unlike the Porsche. If you're a fan of the car beforehand, or wanted to be a fan and wanted to try it out, or we're looking for something a little more tame, a little more drivable, this is probably it. So yeah, it's cool in that regard. And of course we have the legendary V10 sound. Let's take a listen. So yeah, that's a pretty sweet sound. I do love the sound of a Lamborghini V10. But very much the characteristics of outgoing cars are present here. I'm trying to find any sort of speed. Oh, there you go. See, the back end tried to kick out, but I was able to catch it, and I don't know that that's always been the case with this car. By the way, terrible choice of track. I can't seem to find an overtake here. Still down in 18th after starting 18th. So maybe Monza wasn't the best showcase of either my driving skills or this car. But we will see what the rest of the race brings. Maybe we can get top 10 if I can actually pull something together here. Look out, Acura, Honda.
Clear on the right. Car on the right.
See, all I had to do was whine about being so far back in the pack, and then I got 2 overtakes consecutively. How about that? So yeah, not a particularly inspiring car. I would say I maintain that the Porsche just feels incredible to me, and you know, I really think that everyone should spend some time in that Porsche and see if you enjoy it as much as I do. And then the 296, a very stable car, great for drivers of all level, I would say overall. Yeah, but the Lambo just doesn't jump out at me as being particularly awesome, so maybe I'll be proven wrong over time. Maybe you guys will really come to like it, and if so, please do drop a comment. But for me, it's just kind of a little bit uninspired. As is my driving here, but starting to get some decent tire pressure. I did a little bit more research on the physics since we last left our hero, and turns out that we're going for 26 to 27 psi, and in all of my setups I'm running below 26, so comparatively flat. And I noticed that the inside, middle, outside temperatures are yeah, unfortunately a little bit off. You'll want a little bit of positive toe and negative camber to sort of optimize your outside, middle, inside temps. And I have not done that. I'm just running stock setups, and it hasn't been great. My launch out of turn 1, or turn 2, I guess technically, has been terrible in this race. Lost my touch with this track. Just because it never shows up in online racing, right? I'm not used to it. This and Spa, I wish somebody would finally choose those for an online session. All right, we're going Porsche hunting. Got the Porsche and the Nissan pretty close to us here. The pack is still very, very tight. And yeah, it feels good through like a Ascari, for example, does this Lambo. As good as a Lambo has ever felt in this game, I would say.
You're at the halfway mark. Keep pushing. Car on the left. Clear on the left.
Got one. A little bit of scratches on that Nissan I need to watch out. Possibly a dangerous driver. Should have a nice slipstream here, and I don't think he will, so I should be able to get this overtake.
Well done, mate. Across the steps in front.
The AI brakes really early here at Monza. Not sure why I was getting the green flag there. I guess there must have been a yellow flag somewhere on track. And yeah, tire pressure's still down. Come on, Mike, let's go. Getting very dark here at Monza. I don't think I mapped a button to lights, so hopefully I have automatic headlights turned on. Or I started with them on, I can't really tell. Yeah, they're on. So yeah, overall, I'll use the last 6 minutes of this race here to kind of talk about my feelings about this pack. I think it's a very good pack. I think the Porsche in and of itself, you know, probably justifies the purchase. I would say that that is the best of them, and the 296 is the looker. It's probably the one that most people are going to be most attracted to, and you'll probably see a lot of this in online lobbies, a lot of the 296 that is. And the Evo, to me, is the Huracan, rather. It's interesting. It doesn't do much for me, but again, that's not to say that it won't do anything for anyone. It's just not blowing my mind particularly. And yeah, these physics updates, you know, whether or not you buy the DLC, the physics updates are really well done. I think the cars feel as stable as they ever have. I don't think it's going to necessarily make converts out of anybody. If you weren't a fan of ACC going into this update, will you all of a sudden become a fan of ACC's physics? Probably not. I don't think these are earth-shattering physics updates, but you know, every little bit of progress is good, and fans of the title like myself can certainly appreciate these updates. So again, like I said at the Nürburgring, if I only had more time, I could probably pull out this win. I think I'm getting fairly close here and able to be reasonably consistent with this Lambo, although I'm down a second and a half here from a terrible turn one. But yeah, I think over time I could get the win with the right opportunity. And if you're wondering, I'm in 13th of 24 positions as we enter the final 4 minutes of the race. I'll try and close the gap, see if I can pull out a 10th place or higher by the end of the race. Every car's got a bit of damage here. I don't know who's been smashing, bonking into each other. Side by side here as we enter Parabolica. Who's gonna blink first? He did, so I took it. Beautiful, I love that sky. Skies look amazing here just after sundown. Some late braking here. Close the gap. So decent first chicane there. Certainly felt better than last lap. Got a 296 up ahead. Closing in on, might even get to him right now because it looks like I'm going to get a run on this Nissan. Although that Nissan not giving up, still side beside me. But he finally acquiesced. Had to take sort of a funny line there and gave back some time, but that's okay. Still only down about 1/10 of a second versus my best time previously. All right, 296 shouldn't have very good straight line speed, and I think the Lambo has excellent straight line speed, so this should be a done deal.
Car on the right. Clear on the right.
Not as easy as I'd hoped, but still managed to get done what I needed to. And I don't know if this will be the second to last lap or not. Should be. I'm on pace for a personal best by the slimmest of margins here. Not quite. About 0.03 seconds slow. See if we can get one more position before the end of this race. And yeah, I'm having a good time driving this Lambo. It's not like it's a bad car. It's just not my favorite car. Be curious to know how it holds up in endurance setting. See if that sort of tough weight distribution or, kind of knife edge feeling in some corners, see if that comes back over time. So just getting a sprint race sampling of the physics here. Some cars really shine in endurance settings, of course. I found the M4 was good in endurance. Bentley seems good in endurance.
Clear on the right.
So one position gained, maybe one more. And I outbrake.
Car on the left. Clear on the left.
Just about pulled a calf muscle trying to outbrake that car. But I got it done. All right, fireworks, celebrate, enjoy. That's the 2023 GT World Challenge DLC. That's the cars. All right, thanks for watching, and there will be more from me.